Hello and welcome to this week's special presentation. My name is Jim Penna. I'm the Manager of Retirement Services here at VectorVest, and I'm very happy to be hosting this week's topic, which is titled, How to Build Your ETF Challenge Portfolio. Now this week, I'm going to delve a little deeper into the ETF Portfolio Challenge and illustrate some steps that you should take to optimize your results for this competition. Now, I'm going to start by revisiting some of what Glenn talked about last week when it comes to using searches in the VectorVest program, adjusting those searches, creating your own searches, whether it's your own criteria or using watch lists within the program, or simply using the pre-built systems within the trading system viewer. From there, I'm going to move on to backtesting, which is really a crucial step in the development and evaluation of any investment strategy. Backtesting is a key component of effective trading system development, and it's done by reconstructing with historical data trades that would have occurred in the past using rules defined by a given strategy. And the results of those tests offers numbers for you to gauge the effectiveness of that strategy. Always keeping in mind that past performance do not guarantee future results. So the underlying theory is that any strategy that worked well in the past is likely to work well in the future, and thereby give you confidence in your system and a better chance at success. Conversely, a strategy that performs poorly in the past is more likely to perform poorly in the future. So in this presentation, we're going to look at applications that are used in backtesting, what kind of data is obtained, and how we can put it to use. And so the goals of this presentation is to design a profitable investment strategy, which really is simply just an organized way of consistently making money. And we believe it requires the application of these core steps. So when we get to backtesting, we're going to talk about applying a market timing system. If you choose to. Actually, you don't have to use a market timing system, but it's certainly helpful. We're going to talk about proven stock, or in this case, ETF selection searches. And then finally, the effective portfolio management techniques needed, again, to be successful. And I found the investment strategy flow chart from some presentations from a while back, and I think it's just a great way to look at this idea of the steps that need to be taken. So we begin with research, right? It's the initial exploration to determine searches that perform well in any given market period. And here we're going to use the quick test along with the Unisearch tool and the Watchlist viewer. Okay, we have the VectorVest default searches. You can modify those searches. And then, of course, we can build our custom searches. And once we've done our research there, we come down to the development stage, right? And here is where you incorporate those searches that we came up with into a trading plan using the backtester. So as we develop that, we begin to test those searches, right? We can backtest them over different market timing frames. We can use different stop criteria. We can use different other factors within the trading system that we create. We're then able to evaluate the results. And of course, if they are favorable and the performance is okay, then we'll go ahead and implement those strategies. Perhaps in the real world, you may want to begin in a paper trading account or start with smaller dollar amounts. In our case here, we're going to use our competition portfolio. And then, of course, we monitor those trades, be sure that the performance of the portfolio is living up to what we expect. And then if it's not, of course, we just resort back to the initial research, develop, and test phase. So that's really what we're looking at doing here in tonight's presentation. I really hope to just at least build a foundation to how you can use some of these tools and the rationale behind them. Before I do that, I wanted to come into vectorvest.com/ETF-challenge. Remember, Glenn showed this last week. Glenn's video from last week is up and available to you here at this link. And it has the rules, and just want you to be sure to go back, check over these rules, and list through here. One of the important ones is being sure that if you use a watch list or create your own search, remember there has to have an average volume of at least 250,000 shares. That's the 50-day moving average of volume. Okay, be sure that I don't think there are any ETFs that trade below $1, but make sure that parameter is also set to where you need it to be, and just really go through the rules here and be sure that you've got it set up here. Okay. And before I move on from here, there were just a couple of questions that came up from last week. Someone asked, are dividends collected? Will they count towards the totals in your portfolio? The answer is no, dividend payouts will not. Yes, it is true that you can enter the contest in the competition on any date you choose between March 30th and June 28th. There will be a web page tracking all the contestant entries like we have done in past contests. That question had come up. And then finally, someone asked about the portfolio manager. How many positions can you hold? It holds up to 100 symbols within the portfolio manager. So just wanted to touch on those, and let's go ahead and move on to work. And we're going to begin here by going into the VectorVest program, and we see today's activity, a lot of green across the board. Great to see, but let's go ahead and begin our process. I'm going to kind of pick up where Glenn left off last week and just review that fairly quickly for us. I'm going to begin by going into the Unisearch tool. And here is where we're going to go in and begin to build or find, remember, this is the research portion. Where do I find the searches or watch lists or create my own or find a built-in program? So the first thing that I did was create a group here within the Unisearch tool. And I titled it just 2024 ETF Challenge. You do that by simply clicking the down arrow here, choose New Group, and when you do that, a box will come up and you fill in your name and any comments or reminders that you want to put into the comment section there. And once you do that, you hit add, and that will create the new folder for you. So right now that folder is empty, but we have a place now to put our searches so we can find them easily. The next thing I'm going to do is come down to the ETFs folder where there are a good number of ETF searches found here. Now again, we talk about finding those proven, promising searches that you can use. You can use any of these, whether you're buying contra ETFs in a down situation. Remember, there's no shorting, so you're always buying. Even if you're playing the market to the downside, remember, you're going to be buying the contra ETF, so you're not really shorting. The contra does the shorting for you. Having said that, instead of going through all of these and creating them for you, I am going to just start right at the top, and I'm going to use best performing ETFs during a confirmed up. Once I click there, the search comes up, and it has the sort here, RT times CI descending. Glenn talked about that. It's a great sort, and it has the parameters that we have to be aware of. Number one, price has to be greater than $1. Again, for ETFs, I don't know that there's one that trades below $1. But the important one here is the 50-day moving average of volume. So I clicked in the value box. I choose custom value, and make sure you type in 250,000 shares. I'm going to click run the search, and that will bring up candidates. And if I scroll over, you'll see that the average volume is clearly above, for most of them, the 250,000 share number. Okay, that is an important rule that you have to be sure to follow. Now, once I've done that, I can now click on the Save tab here in the toolbar. I'll choose Save As, and that will bring up a box that allows me to simply write, and I'll do as Glenn did last week. I'll leave the name, and I'm just going to type PC for Portfolio Challenge. Okay, that's just going to be my handle there. I make sure I highlight the group, and I hit OK. So what I've just done now is added that search into the ETF Challenge. And then I'll do one more just to again, show how to do it. Glenn did it last week again with buying contra ETFs. So if I just click on the original search there, again, I'm going to be sure to make it to 250,000 shares. I'll run it just to put it in there, and then I would come back here, save it, and I will do the same thing. I'll just put PC here to save it and make sure it's in the proper folder, and I'll hit OK. Now you can do this with as many searches as you choose to. Naturally, as for time constraints, I'm not going to go through all of them. There are some great searches in here, things you can tweak, things you can do, whatever you choose to do. But for our sake, I'm just going to leave these two in here for now. The other process Glenn talked about last week was going to the Viewers tab, and in our watch list viewer, we have a ton of watch lists that track ETFs. You've got leveraged ETFs, you've got regular ETFs and contra ETFs. So there's just a long list here to go through, and you can, again, adjust these in any way, shape, or form that you see fit. Let's just say you were going to go in and look for some regular leveraged ETFs. If I go ahead and click on that watch list, it is going to bring up a list of stocks. But remember, let me break this down for some more room. Remember, when I scroll over, make sure you come to the average volume, and I'm going to sort this list by average volume, making sure that to the top of the list come those that trade at least 250,000 shares. And that list would come down to right around here. I'll highlight that one. I'll scroll back up to the top. If I hold my Shift key down, it then creates the ability to right-click and add these to a watch list. So now I'm going to create my own watch list. Click here. I'll be sure to choose New Watch List. I'll bring that box over again, and I'll just do the 2 times leveraged PC challenge there. We'll just put that in. And then again, any comments that you want to add there, I'm going to add these stocks because I know they have the proper average volume. I'm going to click OK. Now I've created that. What you can do now with that so that you can put it into the portfolio manager is turn that into a search. And to do that, let's just show the click by click to do that. I'm going to come back into Unisearch. I'm going to come over to that tab and I'm going to create a new search. I simply click in Parameters. I go to Stocks, Filter by the Watch List. That watch list has to equal, when I click in the value box, it will give me the watch list to choose from. Remember, I was just in the ETFs folder and I created the leveraged portfolio challenge, just tweaked it, making sure that we had the proper parameters met. Now here, I would go ahead and add the volume just to be sure that when the list comes up, so it's price volume, and you're going to find the average volume, 50-day moving average volume has to be greater than, we'll put greater than 250,000. So I now run that search. We'll break that down so I can slide over a little bit and we can see the average volume. So all of those would meet the criteria that we've returned using that search. Now the next step would be to save it. I'll hit Save, Save As. I'll bring it over here and we'll call it again the 2-time leveraged, and I'll just type in the PC there. I'll click on the challenge. That would be, again, a long strategy. We'll click OK. And now I have that search. If I want to back test or quick test or do whatever I want to do with that, that's a search I created. So we've taken searches within the Unisearch tool, tweaked them to make sure we have the proper volume parameter. I also showed you and recapped how to build a watch list. Right? You could build a watch list, your own cherry-picked stocks, whatever it is that you want to put in there. And you can take that watch list and save it and put it in here as a search so you can test it that way. Okay, so that's how we do that. Now that I have these in here, let's go ahead and go into, again, what we talked about, that crucial step in developing an investment strategy, and that's going to be backtesting. Okay, so the next part of developing our investment strategy, now that we've incorporated the searches that you choose to use, we're going to go ahead and put them into finding the best investment plan or the best risk management techniques, and we're going to use the backtester. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back into the Unisearch tool. So I'm going to start again with the best performing ETFs confirmed up. What we want to do when we're doing these back tests is we want to be able to select, different time frames that exhibit ups, downs, sideways moving market conditions, right? We don't want to just find the most opportune times. For a very specific example, if I take us into a graph and I've got a 1-year look back of the VectorVest composite, it's very easy to take, if I use confirm calls, which I have set up here, from the November 24th confirmed up call to current. Okay, the ETFs that searches that we would use and that we're looking at are working, amazingly well. We don't want to just build our trading system or our investment plan based on just that. We want to be able to look at these different moves in the market. So what I have here, I'm going back to June 8th. On June 2nd of 2023, we had a DEW timing system up. On the 8th, we got a confirm call. And I like to use these time frames. Listen, you can go back. I don't see a need to go back too far, as long as we have different market conditions in place. Here we had an up situation. The confirm call did whipsaw pretty quickly here. We got a confirm down. We had a fairly extended move to the downside that bottomed out here in late October. The DEW came, and then of course the confirm call came to the upside. So when we're doing our back test, again, the bottom line is it's just better to put it through different market timing trends rather than try to build an investment strategy just based on one really strong run to the upside is the takeaway there. So just to illustrate that, if I come back into the Unisearch tool and let's run the search. So while this is the current roster of stocks and I'm just bringing back the top 10, what I actually want to do is take this back to November 24th, which is a confirm call, and you can get all of the dates here, our quick dates, whether it's confirm call or any timing system that you choose to use. I'm just going to use that date. And what I want to illustrate is the idea of why it's important to use different time frames. So when I choose that date, I can run the search, and this is what that list looked like back on that day. Now, the first step in building these investment strategies is to start with quick tests, right? We have a great tool. You could just simply click on the quick test, the top 10 here, and that will bring us the performance of the top stocks. So you've got the NVIDIA ETF, you've got semiconductors, the TQQQs, QLD. So it's no surprise that these ETFs have performed really well from that confirmed call on 11/24. A 75% return over that time frame versus just under 14% for the S&P 500. Really hard to outdo that. And so what I want to do is go back and say, all right, I'm going to take some different market timing trends to test through. For instance, if I were to, and I can actually leave this up here, if I were to change this date back to that confirmed call that I talked about in June, using the June 8th confirm call, I can also run that search and quick test the top 10 from that date. And we can see they also performed very well, up 35% versus the S&P 500. Okay, and I think it's pretty neat. You can actually run these tests and leave them up here. I'm not trying to confuse anybody, but the other date I was going to go back to, again, just to illustrate this, is the January. So now I'm going back a little over a year. That was a confirmed up call. Let's run the search there, and we'll quick test the top 10 from here. And now we see, a little bit of a different scenario. And this is why it's important to be able to understand the different time frames. Up only 6% versus the S&P since January, that confirmed call there. Okay, we'll go ahead and close those out. All right, from here, I'm going to go up to the main toolbar and let's get into the back tester. And from here, let's walk through the process of back testing an idea. I'm going to click on that. It will bring up a control panel here that allows me to either select an existing trading system, which I'll talk about in a minute. Very easy to do. The system is already set up for you. You can, of course, tweak it if you choose to. But for now, we're going to walk through the steps to build our system. We'll start here, and you see the choices we have at the top starts with market timing. Okay, so we have our market timing list. We have all of our choices here. You can choose not to use market timing, but what we'll do in the backtest is continue to go through, use different market timing scenarios so that you can see how that strategy works through the different timing systems. For now, we'll leave it at confirm call. When you're on these timing systems, it actually defines it for you, so you know short, intermediate, longer term trends that you're looking for. Again, you can test through all of them. Right? We get to automation rules. It's going to give us the ability to search, to choose the search we want to use, add our stop criteria, and then the settings that are going to be involved here. What I want to do first is start with the account settings, okay, where it says edit account settings. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to type in the search that we're going to use. I'm going to use best performing ETFs confirmed up, and then I'll put we're using that search. So that's the search. Be sure to name it, and the one we're going to use is called baseline. I'll explain that in a moment. And that's going to be the name. You can put any description that you'd like into the description tab to remind you of whatever circumstances there are. Next, we go to edit account settings. And here, we're going to be able to adjust this to whatever number we're looking for. The portfolio competition has 50,000. I'll change it to that. The pay commission defaults to $4.95 per trade. You can choose to just uncheck it and have none. Some folks like to put $1 here so that once you run the test, just based on that $1 per trade, you can see how many trades, if you care to do that. For now, I'm just going to uncheck it. Right? Most brokers at this point don't charge, so I'm going to uncheck it. You can use margin. You can account for interest. We will execute our buys and sells at the next day's open, and we'll use daily pricing mode. So those are the basic settings there. When I click OK, and then I'm going to build that custom trading system. Okay, so our timing list, for now, I'm going to use no market timing because we're going to run this baseline test. I'm going to come to the portfolio challenge. I'm going to choose the search. There's going to be no stop criteria on this first run. And these, because we're just running it through from the date I'll choose, which is going to be June 8th, we'll run 10. Okay, we'll invest average value of the portfolio, and we won't check any of those boxes. We don't need to check any of those now. There's our trading system. I'm just going to change the date here. And again, I'm going to run it from the June 8th confirmed up call, and I'll hit finish and run. This is going to be our baseline test using the $50,000 portfolio. We can see the ups and downs. Again, this is why we like to use the different time frames. And from late 2023, we know the wonderful run that these have been on. So there's the baseline test. Okay, so that's our baseline. From here, I'm going to go ahead and hit copy, and I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to customize my trading system. This time, I'm going to actually use confirm calls. And again, it will give me the definition. Let's see if I can improve upon the baseline test. So we're going to continue using the best performing ETFs confirmed up. Still not going to use stop criteria. So the only thing that I've changed here is I've added the confirm calls. So what I'm going to do this time is when instead of no action during the confirm down, I'm going to go to cash. Okay, we're going to close our positions when the confirmed down call comes and go to cash and then buy them back when the confirmed up call comes. So that is going to be the change we make here. We're simply going to use market timing and go to cash. So I'm going to hit finish and run, and let's see how that one performs. And you can see a very big difference there. If I go to reports and I look at our trade history, all it's going to do is show you that when there are 20 trades here. When we hit the confirmed down call, we closed the positions and then bought 10 more positions on the confirmed up. So that's how that played out. And you can see the max drawdown is better. Obviously, the returns are more than double the returns simply by making that one transition from the baseline copy. Okay, let's leave the current parameters where they are, see if we can improve upon that. I'm going to hit copy, and here I'm going to change it and use stop criteria. So let's say we wanted to go in and leave, let's try a 10% trail. So if I just put this in the title again, so I know which test is doing what, make sure I customize my trading system. So when I come into automation rules, instead of no stop criteria, and I'm just, again, you would go through many of these. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we'll use the 10% trail, and I'll just leave it there to show you how that can change what our performance is. Let's go ahead and do that, and we'll finish and run from that same time frame. Okay, so again, you can see that I'm changing these under this one. I'm sorry, I should have. We'll change that to use the confirm calls. And so we see again with the same setup here, we're doing about the same. We'll call it pretty much even there. A little less drawdown using that, just a couple of, not even a full percentage point difference on using the 10% trail. Okay, so 10% trail looks pretty good. Again, you would go through this using different stop criteria as you see fit to see how you can optimize those returns. And remember, we had strong markets, we had a good move to the downside in the middle of 2023, and then the big run up from there. I'll click new along the top, and let's take a quick look at select an existing trading system. So here we have in our trading system viewer the ability to come in. Now we have these great searches, the customers who created the Turbo and the Nitro using the Qs. These are wonderful trading systems that I don't really have to backtest right now, right? I've got already in the trading system viewer the 1 month, 3 month, and 1 year returns. Okay, using the system that is created here. We've got two of them, Turbo, Nitro. We also have the Qs trading system. And once again, we show you right here the 1 month, 3 month, and 1 year returns, the percent returns. So I don't really need to back test those. You can still tweak these if you choose to. But let's say I was to come up and choose Nitro, and I wanted to use that system. When I double click on it, it brings me into the rules. So instead of building all these rules, you have them right here at your fingertips using the 50 gain, 5% loss. You're maintaining just one position, the ETF, the leveraged ETF, T triple Qs. And then here you're actually going long the Qs in a confirm down. And there are specific rules in place for this. And it's a wonderful trading system, as you saw over the 1, 3 month, 5 month look back. Now, before I finish here, again, I'm just scratching the surface using both Unisearch, the watch list, how to create a search from the watch list. This is just some of the things I wanted to touch on here as you prepare your ETF Challenge portfolio. But I did just scratch the surface here, giving you just some ideas how to use the backtester. What I want to do is just click up here on the training tab. With the training tab, we come over, we have a great getting started with VectorVest video here. And then down below are software how-to videos. Glenn created a great collection of navigational training series here. And if you come down, session 11 is all about the backtester. And Glenn gives in greater detail, a bit of a longer presentation that he goes through. So I suggest that you take the time to do that if you're interested or in getting really down to the nitty-gritty on the backtesting tools. So that's available to you as well. It's an important factor in building and managing your portfolio and building the confidence and finding the very best investment strategy that you can. Remembering that past performance does not guarantee future results. We know that, but it is a great way to begin to build your ETF Challenge portfolio, and moving forward, your real world portfolios are going to do better if you have that fully developed investment strategy completed for you. Remember, it's just an organized way of knowing when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. And you add in those money management techniques, and it's really a great start and a powerful tool within the VectorVest program. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Check.